You would have gotten it. You want a second
Hello
start? You want to
guys,
try again?
and welcome back to the
No,
semi-final.
I don't need a second start.
Alright, all good then. Anyway, we are now in the semifinals of this month's monthly final for EU West. Of course, of the regular Go4LoLs. And it's Engima again. And Engima is going to be playing against Caseking Gaming this time. Blue side, of course, being Caseking. Red side being Engima. And after that last game, I'm definitely looking forward to this one. Because the way that Engima dismantled their opposition last game was really interesting to watch. And if they can do that again, even better.
Yeah, they really did a great job in the last game, and they really looked dominating once they got their power spikes that they wanted. And it looks like both teams are ready now, and we are heading into pick and bans.
Exactly. It was just so impressive because they were a step ahead of the opposition. They did the lane swap. They figured out, hey, our guy died. Doesn't matter. This and this and this is how we react. So they didn't mind that someone died on the lane swap. And from then on, you could see it. Like there was a slight advantage in the mid lane because it got camped to hell by the enemy jungler. So Lux was 0-4. But as soon as the first team fights rolled around, Engima just came out huge and swinging. And then their mid laner was suddenly 6-4. And from then on, it just got worse and worse for the enemies. Anyway, we're in the next one. Caseking Gaming banned out Bard and Gnar so far. Gnar was banned last time already. We've already talked about that ban. Bard, a very popular support lately. We've seen it a bunch. He's very scary when you can play well around the Tempered Fate ultimate. So there's that. They just take him off the field. Fizz, we saw him last time. Fizz actually kind of wrecked the Aurelia. Aurelia never had a chance to do anything in that game. Other side, Alistar, Ryze, and Echo. Alistar and Ryze, same bans as last time by Engima, and Echo this time, they're banning it out because last time the enemies did it, so they don't want to play against that. Take it right off the field.
And this does leave Gragas open for the taking, and Nico really wanted that Gragas, so I'm really curious to see what he'll be playing now, but the likes of a Sejuani or a Rumble is up, Azir is also up. So there are a lot of possibilities for Engima to pick right now, and Kalista is also open, so many great picks, and they are hovering over the hacker room.
Exactly, they don't need to pick the jungle right away now, because Gragas is already locked in. So they've got their free pick of junglers, if they want it. As you said, like, Sejuani's up, Rek'Sai is also up, they've got their free pick of strong junglers. Gragas, Sejuani, and Rek'Sai are really the big trifecta that we're dealing with right now. In the end, they pick up the Hecarim and the Morgana. Morgana, we saw it last time. Fortunate is very good on that champion, very good with his black shields and his dark bindings, manages to catch a lot of opponents off guard just when it's necessary, and so on and so forth. So I like him going for that. Hecarim, more interesting. Just like Fizz, his job will be to teleport and flank the backline and distract the enemy mid laner and AD carry. Victor has already been locked in as the mid lane carry, and he's, again, very low on mobility. He deals better with people jumping on his face, just because he has a lot of front-loaded bursts that he can put down on top of himself. So Hecarim has to be careful with that, but since he's also running the smite, at least for the time being, he's going to be a big frontline tank, and that's going to be exactly what he's trying to do.
Yeah, and if he is going up against a Maokai, then he really has to be careful whenever he's flanking, because there will be another tank flanking. But right now, the team of Caseking Gaming has two very strong frontliners and some very strong CC whenever we come to a team fight. With the Victor also having some CC in his kit, they will be able to really control the area that there are starting to be some fights in. And right now Engima are taking their time deciding what they want to take as the next champions, and we could possibly see a mid-Varus. Yeah, it's maybe gonna be a mid-Varus. It is a flex pick.
I would be surprised.
I wouldn't be
I'm
surprised
expecting
either.
that to be a mid lane Varus.
Yeah, it probably will. And also Rek'Sai for Nico. That is something new. I haven't seen it before. But it's gonna be interesting, and it is a very strong early game jungler as well.
Yeah, she's so good at just getting around the map with all that mobility, going from lane to lane to lane, and then making things happen wherever she goes. The other side, those hovers, no way they're gonna lock them in because they're still lacking that AD carry. So I'm not gonna talk about anything that Caseking Gaming is doing right now. That Lucian looks a little bit more reasonable. The mid lane Varus though, it's super strong because it pokes from very long range. I expect him to swap away from the ignite because Varus isn't someone who ever wants to be in range to ignite someone. He sits very far back, uses the piercing arrows to poke, and stays safe the rest of the time. And then when it comes down to a skirmish, he puts down his ultimate, chains everyone else, locks them in place, and puts down the hail of arrows and the piercing arrow right through them, and with that dishes out massive damage. On the other side, that's exactly the reason why, once again, the enemy mid laner picked up Cleanse. They want to get out of the Morgana binding, they want to get out of the bindings from Varus, just have to stay safe. It's something we've seen a lot of mid laners do lately, because with a single mistake, you can suddenly die and ruin the entire fight for your entire team. So he picks that up, is going to be safer, and then of course Lucian, Annie, they're scary. Annie is always scary. She has so much damage, even as a support, plus the big stunning.
But we do see a Corki coming through for Sliver, and that means that they do not... that the team of Enigma aren't full AD. They do have a little bit of AP coming in for Sliver. I would actually, to be honest, have loved to see a Sivir. Sivir has gone through the whole pick and ban phase, and with the Sivir, if they decide to go for the Sivir, they would have had a lot of engage, but with Corki, they really complement their Varus with a lot of poke, but is it the best pick? Yeah, with Varus it is, but a Hecarim and a Rek'Sai wants to go into the face of the enemy team, so they really have to be careful not falling too far behind, and they have to stick up with the rest of the team. But also a Morgana and a Corki against a Lucian and a Annie. The Black Shield will definitely help the bot lane of Enigma. Also, Lucian, he's not the strongest AD carry anymore. He has been very strong in the past, and a lot of people have loved to play him, but right now he is falling a bit behind. He's not really the strongest AD carry anymore, so I'm a bit surprised to see him coming through.
Yeah, it's an interesting pickup. Then again, you know, if you're comfortable on an AD carry, it might just be the better choice than the theoretically stronger one that you can't handle well. So I understand why he picks him up. He's also quite mobile. He can dash away from the Morgana bindings, which is something he'll want to avoid wherever possible. So it does make some kind of sense. However, if they fall behind even just a little bit in that bottom lane on the side of the blue team of Caseking, they're gonna have a pretty difficult time matching up against that Morgana Corki. Those two are lane bullies, and if Lucian has the dash up, they're just gonna say, we don't care, we're gonna go for the Annie. Annie is squishy, we can kill her very fast, very easily, and if Annie doesn't pay extreme attention to where she is, she's just gonna get taken out. And if you kill her once, if you kill her twice, you get a lot of gold, and then you're strong enough to go for the Lucian, even if the Dark Binding may not hit every time. So the bottom lane edge, I'd almost give that over to Enigma, simply because of the Black Shield, as you mentioned, and then all the pressure they bring in for the big trades. And once Corki hits level 6, he's going to push and farm and poke like a madman anyway. Mid lane, if Varus isn't careful, he's going to get taken out by Victor extremely quick. Victor does massive damage if he wants to. And Varus, if he gets caught in the gravity field, is going to get snared, and then needs the Death Ray, and then needs the Chaos Storm, just gets taken out right off the field. However, if Victor takes too many piercing arrows, he'll just get poked out of lane. He won't get killed, but he'll be forced to recall to base and miss a lot of minions and experience because of that.
Also, for the team of Enigma, we can see that Coctus has swapped his smite over to an ignite, so this does give him a bigger pressure in the lane against the Maokai. Despite not having the extra true damage coming in for that smite, I'm a bigger fan of the ignite onto Hecarim because it does give him more pressure in the lane. It is all about if you want to be a teamfight bully or if you want to be a lane bully, but with the ignite it will help him through the lane, and I'm not really expecting Nico to help top lane a lot since there aren't a lot of CC coming in for Cactus. They could try and bait out Vatsy's his W where he flies in, they could try to bait that out, but I'm expecting him to pay a bit more attention to the bot lane.
Yeah, so I completely agree. I'm a much bigger fan of the Ignite on the Hecarim as well. I think it actually does a lot more for you than the Smite on that top laner. Once he gets that Trinity Force, it's just so scary to deal with. So I like what he's doing here, and I like where he's going with that entire setup. And against the Maokai, it's definitely going to help him stay a powerful force in the top lane, then use the teleports when necessary to get into the team fight, absolutely wreck everyone that tries to stand against him. So I like the setup here from Enigma. They're poke heavy, yes, but they're still extremely good at team fighting. Just because of the ultimate out of Varus, the knockup from Rek'Sai, and the just fear by the ultimate from Hecarim, are so good at distracting the enemy team and letting Corki and Varus just work. Getting the auto attacks out, getting the piercing arrows out, hitting all the missiles, the phosphorus bomb out of Corki. There's so much damage available there. They just have to be careful that they run away from the Annie when she gets towards them. Because if Annie manages to land a 3, 4, 5-man stun, it's not going to take very long for the entire Enigma team to die.
No, they are very squishy, most of them on the team of Enigma, and they do have a lot of poke, as you mentioned. So I'm really interested to see how this matchup goes, and we already have a pause.
Yeah, I expect someone just didn't quite get through the loading screen in time. I assume that person's going to be back very soon. Gives us a little bit more time to theory craft how this is going to go. Because what do the junglers do? We had a Rek'Sai. We didn't have a Rek'Sai last game. We had the Gragas last game up against Nidalee. And Nidalee wasn't really very effective. She didn't find a lane to gank. She didn't find a spot to be to pick up any kills. And Gragas is going to be a little bit better at that. This time around, the Gragas, he brings up crowd control. We saw the flash body slams time and again, working out beautifully last time. If he can work that here, that's going to be extremely good for his team. On the other side, though, Rek'Sai, that's one of the junglers that can completely keep up with the Gragas in the jungle. Even just as much mobility, if not more, with those tunnels, a lot of early game damage, and if Rek'Sai decides to invade, she can even start dueling Gragas. So I'm really going to be looking for the two junglers here to work their magic and to be all over the place. The question is, A, will we have a lane swap? Which Enigma are famous for. They did that last game. They might just do it again. And if not, where do the junglers start? Are the bot lanes going to get a minion cap? Because if they do, that's automatically an edge for them.
Definitely, and yeah, as you said, we should really look out for the junglers. Gragas and Rek'Sai are some very good early game junglers, and Nico being a very aggressive jungler as well, if he decides to invade, as you said, then he should have some very great backup if his team is nearby, since they have a lot of damage. And if they decide, Enigma, if they decide to do a lane swap, then I would be very surprised, because Hecarim isn't the best champion to work in a 2v1. Their Maokai is very better at handling a 1v2, so I would be very surprised, and it doesn't look like they are gonna be lane swapping.
I mean, right now, Corki and Morgana are down in the bot lane. Hecarim was up top. He got spotted out, so both sides know where the respective champions are, and I think they're just going to go for maybe standard lanes and just stay safe like that. Morgana actually now walking up towards top, so they are lane swapping after all. After showing themselves to the enemy team, they still decide to actually swap. One more interesting thing, Annie went for the Ancient Coin. It was changed not recently to give a lot more gold, so that's definitely going to be nice for her. She's going to get a lot more gold throughout the game, but it shows that she doesn't want to be as aggressive. It's not the item you want to pick when you want to go ham right off the bat, because then the Spell Thieves Edge, it gives you AP and some mana sustain. That's better if you just want to go for a lot of raw early game damage and try to take the enemy out. Doesn't go for that. Instead, that Ancient Coin shows she wants to be passive. That alone might really benefit her in the lane swap now. That is coming in, even though not initiated by them. Ooh, and she's going over Annie. Annie is found by Rek'Sai here, and she takes a huge amount of damage. Where's the burrow? Rek'Sai might decide. Flashes after Annie. That's not going to be enough. It forces the response flash, though. So extremely aggressive play there. And mid lane's already going at it as well.
Yeah, and it looks like we might have a fight in the jungle of Enigma.
Yeah, party in the jungle. Maokai and Gragas coming around as well, and Enigma actually peeling back from that. Maokai already level 2 because he sat and took that Raptor camp. That alone forced Enigma out of their own jungle, and Rek'Sai didn't get anything yet. He didn't finish the Gromp because he started chasing Annie, and then Rek'Sai also didn't get the blue buff because they were invaded now. So very strong start here from Caseking, doing extremely good work.
And also in the top lane, we are seeing Sliver just freezing that lane, and of course it will help him whenever Maokai decides to go into the lane where the minions will be pushed. Oh, 4-man mid lane.
I mean, just because of the weird way it's playing out right now, that everyone's walking from lane to lane to lane. I mean, Rek'Sai and Hecarim now obviously want to get the enemy blue buff. Didn't get my own, then I'm going to take yours. So that's the thought process that they have right now, but it's not an easy thing to do when the enemy team is on the same page and they're already there as well. So Corki needs to move now, which will, lose a couple minions due to the freeze, but they really need this blue buff. They need to get Rek'Sai at least a little bit of gold, at least a little bit of advantage, but it might still result in the first big fight. It's such a dangerous position here. Blue buff resetting a little bit. That's not what they want, but the smite comes out of Rek'Sai, securing that. The anti-stun onto Hecarim. He gets knocked down by the body slam. The exhaust is there. Now Victor is on his way over here. Can they get out fast enough? The sapling's still running after them. That's going to slow them down, but they all made it out safe. Is a 5-man invade now from Caseking.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going for the red buff now.
So same deal, this time in the other jungle, but Varus doing a very good job with that piercing arrow lance. It does puts Annie very, very low, and that alone will stop any kind of further shenanigans they might have thought about there.
And very good, very good thought process for Enigma, just saying, well, you took our blue buff, now we're gonna go to their blue buff, and you will probably have no smite since you used your second smite onto another camp just to try and just have a level advantage over Nico, but they didn't really have the smite to contest the blue buff, so I am very surprised that they decided to stick around for so long, and it looks like Nico is moving into the top lane now to just push in the wave and probably get the tower as well. And Caseking doesn't really have any way of responding. The bot lane minions are so far away from Enigma's tower, and teleport coming in.
Might get him killed. Oh, they only put down the Morgana binding because they saw Annie coming in as well. Else they might have gone for the dive, but now they just back off. Hecarim's coming around though. They might still decide to dive then. It's still dangerous.
Just every team is everywhere right now. So many rotations in this game. Monte Cristo would be very glad.
Here's Hecarim now. They want to go for that dive. The anti-stun is still available. Hecarim goes in first. He gets stunned up underneath the turret. Takes 3 shots. He's extremely low. Will go down, but first blood already went over. Corki still forced a flash afterwards, and they're going to take down this tower. A 1-for-1 trade, and overall, with that first blood bonus, they don't quite get the tower yet, but with 2 more minion waves, they should be able to. Overall, advantage definitely in favor of Enigma.
Yeah, but now Sayu is coming into the top lane to try and help Maokai if there's gonna be a dive, so not any tower for Enigma this time.
Then, not quite as much of an advantage. It's really unfortunate that they gave that 1 kill up to Annie, but she played it so perfectly, managed to get the stun down onto Hecarim just as he started tanking the turret, and exactly at the edge of the turret range. So that was pretty lucky for Caseking, and now Victor actually flashes forward. He's got his ultimate, takes down Rek'Sai in her own jungle. Beautifully played by him.
Yeah, very well played, and we can see that now, since Coxus haven't really been in the lane, he is starting to fall behind in CS. Same for Sliver.
Sliver here getting stunned up underneath the turret. The sapling's still gonna hit him as well. He wants the kill though. Morgana takes that and the heal comes out, keeping Corki safe. Good play, but now they're definitely in danger of getting Dovin right afterwards. The minion wave pushing up. Gragas and Maokai are here. Rek'Sai running up as fast as they can. Corki's still so low, but Caseking decide we don't need to risk anything. Let's back off.
Yeah, no reason to risk anything that's will probably go wrong. And you didn't have any vision of Nico, so very smart play for Caseking, just saying we have no vision of Nico, so he could be anywhere. But right now we're just seeing Pookie just farming away in the bot lane. He hasn't been part of any of the skirmishes that has been happening, and Caps might be caught here.
Yeah, and he was in the mid lane. It was a good stun, and it forces the flash away from Varus. He didn't really have too much of a choice in that one. But keeps himself alive. Like, that's the important part. He's been farming, kept himself alive now. He finally is able to go back. He didn't actually start with a crystalline flask early, which is usually what we see, going instead for the longsword. And now he's got tier triple longswords and boots, so he's got a lot of early game stats to counteract the weakness that he naturally has by picking up the tier first.
Yeah, very smart choice for Caps. And what? Oh, they're coming in again.
That's the twisted advance onto Morgana. Has a black shield. The exhaust comes out onto Gragas as well. That's going to thwart any further aggression. But the first tower went down. The top lane it was. But Lucian pushed down the bot lane this entire time. That one shouldn't be long for this world either.
And the problem there for Caseking was that Gragas didn't land his body slam. Sayu not really locking down anybody, but also Maokai going a bit too early, and now Kos is looking for something in the jungle, but doesn't find anything.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been too good of an idea. Varus getting that blue buff, he's going to be extremely happy. Wants to, of course, stack that tier as fast as he can, as high as he can. Get that extra mana and build that mana later to then go into the Muramana. You know, he wants to get that big power spike for himself. Victor going to get the same thing. And with that, both of these mid laners just going to poke at one another the remainder of the game, really.
Yeah, and once Caps does get his more mana, oh, Kos coming in.
Yeah, then the flash was already forced. This is a good attempt. It was just a little bit too far away for Victor to still get involved in that. Varus taking a step forward, a little bit dangerous. Morgana and Rek'Sai on the side, though. So, still fairly safe.
Yeah, still fairly safe, and it looks like Engima wants to do the dragon. They have set up a lot of vision, and they are pulling it out.
Yeah, here they go. Gragas sitting on the other side of the wall. He might just throw his barrel in, sees that it isn't there. Shouldn't actually have vision of the dragon itself, so I think that's going to be a safe one here for Engima. They pick up the first one. That's going to make themselves quite happy. Meanwhile, in the top lane, we have the first little bit of skirmish since Maokai hit level 6 before Hecarim. It's still a game of catch-up, because in the top lane and in the bot lane, Engima is actually behind. So they're trying to counteract these disadvantages. The first dragon buff definitely going to help with that. They need to be careful that they don't pick fights while they are weaker.
Yeah, they definitely do need to be careful, but once Varus does get his first item and Corki gets his Trinity Force, Engima will have a very big power spike to play around with.
Especially because at that point, Hecarim will also have his home guard boots completed, and once that teleport is up, we can see whether he decides to make any fancy moves with those. Right now, he's trying to bully around Maokai, has his ultimate if he wants to all in this. He still has his ignite available as well, hasn't used it yet. That's the Maokai ultimate gone now. If he wants to go, this is the chance. The ultimate comes out, knocks Maokai back, the ignite is down, flash away, keeps Maokai alive, getting away just in time.
Just in time, indeed. But very well played for Cactus, just applying a lot of pressure onto Maokai, and this might force the teleport for Maokai, but no, it will not.
Look where Gragas is. He's behind enemy lines. Now dashes over the wall, and Engima have no idea that he's there. He sweepered that bush as well, so he's entirely sure that he has not been spotted coming through the enemy jungle. That's extremely sneaky, very smart. Good dark binding onto Annie. If that stun had landed, I can guarantee you Gragas would have moved in there.
Yeah, and if he had moved in, he would have had the flash body slam combo, so he would have done anything. And now Caseking are just being pinged out while they also ping out Cactus. So the team of Engima does know that Kos and Sayu is in the mid lane, and Caps are just leaning over to the side that they are not in.
The problem with that earlier engage by Hecarim was that he kind of left the minion wave alone. And because of that, Maokai was now able to freeze it, getting even more of a minion lead. And Hecarim is forced to kind of sit in the jungle for a little bit, trying to pick up whatever he can there, because he can't afford to go back top. He's so far out in the middle of nowhere. Annie taking a huge amount of damage, that rocket missing the Morgana binding as well. She flashes forward and gets that soul shackles down. But another flash from Lucian, plus his dash, gets him out safely. The teleport was there from Maokai. Here comes the home guard Hecarim. What's he going to be able to do?
Oh.
He gets right on top of Lucian. He has no chance to go anywhere. Hecarim is still there. Double kill for Rek'Sai. Now Victor wants to get in the mix. Gragas hot on his heels, and Varus nowhere even close. But the tower still stands, and with that, Enigma are able to get out.
Yeah, very well played for Enigma, just playing a bit around the faults of Caseking Gaming. Caseking didn't really look like they were ready for that teleport coming in, and just a very good response from Enigma.
I think the main thing they weren't ready for was just Rek'Sai. She suddenly popped up, went in there with a flash and burrow, got the knock up just as a teleport was coming in as well, and the combination of both of those extra men joining the team fight really caught Caseking off guard, and it is what won Enigma that team fight. And now Corki has the Trinity Force completed, so that's the big power spike you've been talking about. Hecarim almost has a phage, so he's just going to be stronger every time he does this. And Varus has to be careful. There's a Maokai coming on the backside as well. He flashes over the wall, stays safe, stays alive. Kind of on cooldown though. Now bot lane is getting engaged on. Where's the dark binding? It goes wide. Is it still going to be enough? Corki flashes forward. One more auto attack will get him the kill. Now can he get out of the tower? One more hit. Not going to be enough. And that's Sliver here picking up the kill on Lucian.
Yeah, Sliver just knowing that with the 24s he has a very big power spike and he can deal a lot of damage and make Puko go from 100 to 0 in no time.
Exactly. The cleanse was forced in mid lane by the Varus ultimate, the chain of corruption there, trying to snare up Victor. Rek'Sai had been waiting in the wings, would have jumped in there if that had stuck. But it's just it's a very similar thing. It's not the exact same thing as last game, but a very similar thing where Enigma fall behind early game, get some disadvantages. Oh, Annie, you are so caught. The soul shackles go down, and with that, Annie is definitely dead. But it's similar to last game. You know, Enigma fall behind early game, but as soon as they get a chance at the team fight, they come out ahead. From that, they have advantages. They've balanced out the disadvantage from earlier. Corki's now ahead of Lucian, and then they turn on the pressure. They get solo kills, they put down deep vision, look at where the wards are in the blue side jungle, and from then on now it'll just snowball in their favor if they play it right.
Yeah, and Enigma are just like last game. They wait for the right power spikes to commit themselves to any fights that they really want, and you can see the power spikes being played around with in the last 7 minutes. They have just been playing around with those power spikes, and you can even see that Lucian, Pookie, being ahead earlier, is now behind even in CS and in a KDA score.
Yeah, because Annie, you know, Morgana had vision on Annie, so Corki says, hey, I'm stronger. I'm gonna Valkyrie forward. That's normally Corki's escape skill, and using that offensively is A, very dangerous, and B, it's very telling of your position in the game. If you're able to do that, it's clear that you have a lead. So right now, though, the next dragon just about to come up, and Enigma already in position. Hecarim doesn't have the teleport this time, so he makes sure that he's already there in person. But with Maokai not having a teleport either and pushing top, Hecarim wants to go up there, wants to keep that guy from pushing down the tower, is interrupted on his recall. Now, can they steal this dragon? Gragas sitting on the other side of the wall, gets hit by the Dark Binding, though. That might be enough. Yes, Varus picks up the dragon. Extremely close, though. Not even a smite coming out of Rek'Sai. Second dragon secured here.
Yeah, very well played for Enigma. Knowing that if they pull Coctus down to the dragon, then Caseking Gaming wouldn't really try to do anything. Hecarim is one of their big frontline damage dealers, and with Hecarim being there, then they have a lot of damage, and they have their front line alongside Nico, and then Caseking has to respect that.
So where are they gonna go next? The Manamune, of course, done. And an interesting fact about that Varus build as well, the Brutalizer, ever since Black Cleaver doesn't build out of it anymore, isn't actually an item you will keep until the end game on a Varus. You will sell that later, it's just for the early game stats. Now, Gragas is up in top. They're trying to get on top of Hecarim, but he still has his ultimate as well. There it is, that's gonna get himself out of trouble. Back underneath the tower, he's gonna survive. Just gonna walk away. But yeah, that Brutalizer, it's just for the cooldown reduction and the armor penetration. It'll be sold later if we ever get to that stage in the game.
I have seen some viruses go for a Humus Ghostblade as well, and of course you do want the early game stats, but a Humus is also a fairly good pickup onto a virus because once your Mana Moon transforms into a Muamana, then those auto attacks will deal a lot of damage, and with the active coming in for Humus Ghostblade where you get a lot more attack speed, then your auto attacks will of course come out oftener and you will be able to deal a lot, but Puku gets a bit of poke and then he just backs away, and it looks like Sliver wants to go back and buy, and he has nearly enough for a boyfriend sword if you want to buy that, but also for boots and a cutlass.
Yeah, he's definitely good for the boots. The BF sword isn't the thing he wants right now. Instead, picking up the Sorcerer's Shoes just to reinforce the magic damage aspect of his build, and then a Vamp Scepter in there as well. Meanwhile, Hecarim. Nobody can really deal with him. He's still sitting up top whenever Maokai wants to go for a fight. Rek'Sai, you are caught in the gravity field, flashes over the wall to get out of that little bit of trouble, and a lot of abilities actually burned by Caseking, so the re-engage might come out.
Wow.
A piercing arrow hits Annie, and we can already see that damage. And that's Varus with basically 1.5 items. Imagine what's going to happen when he hits 2 or 3 items. Annie is just going to die so fast.
Yeah, Caps will definitely try to look for the one-shot onto Coast, but now Enigma Gaming are pulling all of their champions into the mid lane, and we can see that Cactus is just waiting in the base, looking for an opportunity to flank, and they have a lot of wards. They have wards here and there, and all around they have wards, and now they're going in.
The flash, Tibbers getting Corki, catching him completely off guard. Here comes Hecarim though, what can he do? The Dark Binding was already there, a good Soul Shackle from Morgana, but how much can they really make happen? That that Victor does so much damage, 1-for-1 trade afterwards, so a 3-for-1 now when Lucian gets a double kill. Very well fought by Caseking. The fact they had already killed Corki before Hecarim came in was huge, and then the Victor just did massive damage over everyone with that Death Ray. Not enough damage there from Enigma, and the fight going vastly in favor of Caseking.
And Sliver even had his flash in that fight, so he should never. Yeah, you should never be caught out as a Corki with that Valkyrie, and even when you have your flash, you have so many ways to get out of that fight. So a very questionable being caught out decision, I would say, and Sliver would definitely try to look for it to not happen again.
Yeah, it's always hard to avoid the flash stun from Annie. They're trying to get on top of her now, not going to be able to take her out with just that. The point is, you want to poke that Annie out even harder. Just this little bit isn't enough. She was nearly full HP when she did that flash engage earlier. Varus needs to hit just one more arrow on her before she can flash. Because when she's already on 50 HP, you know, she won't want to flash because then she instantly dies. Beautiful black shield here, just in time, going on to Varus, preventing him from getting snared, but they still want the dive. Might be able to take out Morgana, but the Chains of Corruption keep Maokai in place long enough that he tanks the tower for days, will get taken down. It was a good thought. Varus barely had mana, but he had enough mana for the ultimate, and that meant that Maokai went down.
Caseking not respecting the ultimate of Caps, just going too far under the tower and not respecting that you can be locked down by Caps, and very well played for Caps, just using that ultimate to his advantage and picking up a kill by a mistake Caseking made.
So, a good choice here already being made by both Rek'Sai and Morgana going for early Aegis. And those will really help them survive all that AoE damage, because Gragas does AoE magic damage. So does Maokai, so does Victor, so does Annie. So they're mitigating 4 damage sources at the same time, and the blue buff was stolen away by Hecarim as well, so Victor doesn't have that this time. That will massively impact his ability to poke with those death rays, his ability to knock his enemies out of the fight with just a couple of abilities. He's extremely cooldown reliant, has a lot of burst, but after that he needs to wait for his cooldowns. So with Dragon now coming up in 5 seconds, this is definitely a big factor.
And now you can see that Caps has decided to go for Yumus, as I was talking about. Yeah, so he will have.
I haven't seen that ever.
I have seen it, and now that once Caps get his mana, and he's not very long from getting it, maybe 3-4 minutes, then he will have it. And once he gets it, he will have a lot of auto attacks. Oh, a teleport coming in.
Yeah, Maokai with that teleport right into the backside, but the rest of his team isn't there, so he has to cancel it. Here's Hecarim, though. He dashes right on top of Victor, gets stunned by the Annie, might get taken out before anything more happens. In the backside, though, Gragas went into the Dragon Pit, got taken out. So far, it's a 1-for-1 exchange, and Maokai sitting up at the top lane. It's actually a 4 versus 3 situation. The Dragon goes over to Enigma. Now, can they catch onto Victor? They're trying to get that Dark Binding down. Meanwhile, Varus splits off to the bot side. Wants to get on top of Lucian, doesn't manage to get anything there. Everyone from Caseking managed to disengage, and Maokai just still shoving the top lane. What do Enigma do? They try and push the mid lane. They've got a huge minion wave bot that they theoretically would need to take care of, but they don't want to leave this right now. Corki flashes forward, and no, he doesn't even flash, just the Valkyrie picks up the first kill. Now Annie is in a lot of trouble. The next piercing arrow will take her out, and meanwhile, they also dived Lucian. Corki picking up 2, Varus picking up 1. So after they picked up the dragon, Caseking just throws the advantage away again.
Yeah, Caseking being caught out of position, and just Enigma taking all of the advantages that they can get, just being able to take the advantages and lock down Caseking for some easy kills.
So it's something you're not allowed to do when you're sitting underneath a turret that is currently being pushed by enemies, and you can see you're not going to be able to hold this for very much longer. You should just back off. There's no reason to give up kills along with it. Now here come Rek'Sai and Morgana. The tower's already down, but they're going to get at least 1 more kill for this. Again, they're capitalizing on the enemy's mistakes / every objective that Caseking want or manage to take, they pay for with at least 1 death. And it's caused this 13-6 kill disparity. 3 dragons already on the side of Enigma. They're even in turrets, but they're 6,000 gold ahead. And that's just going to get worse as this game goes on. Red buff, though, going to get secured by Lucian. Rek'Sai a little bit too late for that.
Oh.
Yeah, Annie is not having a good time here.
Annie, are you okay?
No, she's not. Actually, I can tell you that much. She doesn't even have to answer that herself. They miss the catch onto Lucian, but instead just shove down bot lane, because why not? You've got all the map pressure in the world right now. And another free inner turret, or the first free inner turret, being taken by Enigma here.
Yeah, Enigma are really capitalizing on some very good rotations that are, and Caseking really have to be careful around Sliver and Caps, and the Righteous Claw have been popped.
Ooh, the flash forward and then the twisted advance to get on top of Varus. He doesn't care. He's still shooting the back line of Caseking, and then we get a pause mid-team fight. This right now is extremely dangerous.
Yeah, and then we can talk about some of the items coming in. For Fortunate, we can see that he has built a banner of command, so he will be able to just pop that banner of command in the top lane, and that is a very good idea, because all game we have seen Enigma just playing around in the bot side of the map and not really thinking a lot about the top lane. So if they decide to use the ban of command in the top, then the top will automatically push really hard and leave Caseking to have someone go into the top lane, while Enigma just keeps playing around in the bot lane like they've done all game.
Exactly, but this fight right now, okay, I want to get back to this, because it's really dangerous. There, you can see Hecarim around the Dragon Pit is trying to recall. He has teleport up, and there's deep wards behind the enemy team of Caseking. So when he manages to get back to base, he can teleport in, has his ultimate, has the home guard boots and a Trinity Force. He'll be devastating when he manages to get in there and use that ultimate. For that, first he has to finish his recall. Then we can look at ultimates. You can see Victor has already burned Cleanse and Flash. That was to counteract the Chain of Corruption out of Varus. What is really important is that Morgana doesn't have her ultimate anymore. She's been able to use that as soon as people engaged on her team to make them think twice, take a little bit of extra damage, and when it actually pops, snare them and stun them in space. Annie still has Flash and Tibbers and is stun charged. If she ever manages to get in range in the next couple seconds, she will play the Flash stun engage to take down as many of the enemy people as possible. Victor has used the Chaos Storm, Lucian has used his ultimate, Gragas will have his ultimate available in about 10 seconds. Probably less actually, probably more like 5 to 7. And when that happens, he's very far behind right now, but if he manages to get in there, that displacement can completely split up the team of Enigma, and that would be the factor that Caseking need right now. They've already used the Maokai Twisted Advance, so in terms of fighting tools that are still available, I'd actually give the bonus or the advantage over to Enigma, simply because of the Hecarim Home Guard that is just about to come in here.
But if Caseking Gaming does engage before Hecarim will come in from the side, then they will have a Flash Body Slam coming up from Sayu or a Twisted Advance from Maokai. And if they do use that, then Sliver has to flash, because he has to flash up now, he has to heal as well for an extra movement speed buff, and he shouldn't be caught. And then if he can't flash or anything to get out of stuns coming in from Kos or Sayu or even Maokai, then he will still be able to deal a lot of damage onto the rather squishy targets of Caseking Gaming, and they really have to be careful because he has the Trinity Force, he has the Sorcerer's Boost, and he has a Bloodthirster as well.
So it's definitely a very tense moment, and we're getting almost to 5 minutes pause time in the middle of the team fight. And then, I mean, for both of these teams right now, it might just be like, come on guys, let's fight this out. I really want to win this. And the pause in the middle of the team fight is just really unfortunate. Soon as Sliver is back, of course, we'll be getting back into this. But yeah, it's as we said, like, the team fight tools for both sides are still available. Gragas Flash Body Slam and Ultimate, Annie Flash and Tibbers. And on the other side, you've got the Hecarim coming in soon. Morgana wants to stall until she has her ultimate. She still has the exhaust up as well, though, so she can completely mitigate someone's damage. And Varus this entire time will try to fire arrows back into the enemy team as they chase them. I think that's actually one of the biggest factors here now, because the longer that Caseking chase without managing to catch Enigma, the more damage they will take from the piercing arrows, and it just takes Victor to be shieldless and careless once, and he'll get taken out by one. So it's really dangerous for him as well to keep fighting this, and that's why I really want to see now whether they do keep chasing a little longer, or whether they finally just say, hey, let's back off, we don't have to fight this right now, we can't. And it looks like that because if you look at Annie right now, she's actually walking towards the bottom of the screen. So it might just be the disengage call already coming out of Enigma, out of Caseking, I mean. In which case they would have committed a lot of resources to trying this, and then it having failed it, that would kind of hurt.
Yeah, but if they decide to go in and they get the 4-man stun from Kos or maybe some kills, then they would be able to dramatically lower the gold advantage coming in for Enigma. They are 7,000 gold ahead, and Caseking Gaming really wants to get even in gold so that they have a chance to get back into the game, and if they can get that 4-man stun, it would certainly help them.
Yeah, that's for sure. Another thing that... Now I forgot what I actually wanted to say. Damn it! Well, I had something that I wanted to talk about, and now I've forgotten. Come on!
Yeah, well, the sound of Chaos Storm are really, really being annoying, and I'm having a hard time. Concentrating because of the sound. It's really annoying.
Well, I remembered now. The problem is that even if Caseking managed to get a couple of kills here, what are they going to do with them? Because where do they go after that? The outer turrets are down, Dragon isn't up, Baron isn't up, and if you combine all these things, they don't have an objective to take, even if they get a couple of kills. So it's a very difficult situation for them right now. I mean, yes, kills are always nice, and they can close the gold gap a little bit, but where do they go from there? It's basically back to the same situation that we're in right now, where Enigma tries to put on the pressure, where Enigma tries to make Caseking make mistakes, so to speak, and yeah. So even if they get the kill, they're still in a tough spot. That's what I wanted to say. Lost my train of thought in the middle there.
Yeah, they will surely be in a tough spot, and they have 1 minute and 45 seconds to get Sliver back, or this game might be over, since there in the ESL rules there will only be allowed 10 minutes of a pause. So we will need to wait and see, and it might be a very dramatically ending for Enigma.
A very stupid end, really, if you ask me. I mean, Sliver is still disconnected. I can see that in the client, or at least he's not online in the client. It's possible that he's gotten back in the game by now. But considering that we have a 3-minute delay, they'll already have gone over the 10-minute timer. So we're trying to talk to an admin right now to figure out whether they're allowed to use more than 10 minutes, because it is possible if an admin agrees. I do believe they're allowed to extend, I think, up to 50 minutes total. But we'll get that figured out and let you know as soon as we have any more infos. And until then, yeah, we'll just keep looking at this beautiful pause screen.
Yeah, and we are getting a confirmation from the admin. They have 5 more minutes to get Sliver back into the game, and until then we can just keep talking a bit more about how annoying Chaos Storm's sound is.
Well, I mean, yes, the sound isn't the prettiest, but there are also more annoying sounds. Imagine the River Spirit Nami recall going on for 10.5 minutes, 15 minutes.
Or Nunubot just laughing for 15 minutes.
Or Lux laugh. You know, actually laughs are probably the most obnoxious part of this entire game.
Yeah, I'm really glad that we don't have to hear that. But, well, 4 minutes and 50 seconds remaining for Enigma Gaming.
Yep. I do believe it has been stated that he is coming back, and that wasn't too long ago. I wish my chat wasn't bugged out so I could actually move it. God, come on, chat. Come on. Why are you being that stupid? So I can't see the timestamp that they said that he's coming back, but I hope that it's not gonna take another 4.5 minutes, and then we can actually get back in this game and see what still happens, because I don't want the game to end that way.
No, I don't want the game to end that way either, but they did write it like 2 seconds ago, not too long ago. And, well, if we take a look at what Enigma Gaming wants to do now, I think they just want to disengage, basically. That's pretty much what we said all the time, but
well, they want to disengage for a little bit, and then try to get the flank in with the Hecarim home guard, because he's recalling right now, then can teleport in and then just catch them off guard from the backside. So I'd expect that that's what they're aiming for, and until then they want to disengage and stall. But yeah, we really just have to wait for that to happen, or to find out whether that will happen.
Yeah, we will, but I sure hope that they will be able to disengage, so that we will get a very interesting fight. Damn, the sound. God, I can't take it. I need to stop QQing. Yeah, guys, we are gonna switch over to some music, so we will see you once the fight goes back, and be right back. Welcome back again, guys. It does look like Sliver is back in game. And
So it hopefully
yeah,
won't be too much longer. I mean, I see that he's back in real time, but since we have a 3-minute delay, we'll have to see whether we actually, when we get to see that.
yeah, and he is locking in right now, so he has 1 minute and 25 seconds to get back into the game, or this game will be over.
Well, we'll see. I think he'll make it. I think he can actually do it.
I hope that he comes back when there's like 10 seconds left, so we can count down.
10,
That
9, 8.
that could be awesome, to be honest.
Could, but for now, let's see. Actually, what else is going to happen in this game? I mean, we've got Maokai, who's building 2 items at the same time, which is always kind of interesting because it makes you have a lot of stats quickly, but then you're in a lull until you finish those big items for a very long time. So he's already got the Righteous Glory, and then he got the Spectre's Cowl and the Glacial Shroud, but he needs to finish one of those into, you know, Banshee's Veil or the Spirit Visage, depending on which one he wants, whether he wants the Spell Shield or the extra health regeneration, or the Frozen Heart. And he can pretty much choose which one he wants first, although I'd recommend the Frozen Heart, because against a Ghostblade Varus, that's definitely the more effective item.
And the double AD carry comes.
Exactly.
So with a Frozen Heart, he would lower their attack speed. And once he gets, if he decides to get a Banshee as well, he can mitigate a lot of Varus's damage. But let's count down.
Really? You want to count down?
No,
4, 3, 2, 1. Ah! It's already too late anyway.
And that is probably game.
I mean, they're still in the game, so I know that he's still in game, which might mean that the enemy team agreed to keep playing the game out. It's quite possible that, and if the enemy team agrees to it, anything goes. And here we go.
Yeah, they are going back. They are starting. They're starting.
Ah! So team fight. It's actually now the other team, Caseking, running away from this fight, and Hecarim had just recalled, could have teleported in, and all our speculations were for naught. Because it was Caseking that made the call to back off, and then it was the other team, Enigma, that would have had the upper hand, and they just back off. Everyone is happy. Everyone keeps farming again. And then maybe we'll see another team fight in, like, 7 minutes.
Damn it, Cos. I wanted to see you flash in and do the 4-man tipper stun.
Yeah, but he was too far away. Like, he couldn't reach them. I think that was the main problem. Annie wasn't close enough. And she still doesn't have a Talisman of Ascension. She's trying to get it. She's still missing a total of 630 gold, of which she has 400. So 240 gold, and then she could have gotten it. Now she bought Pink Ward and potions. So it's going to be a little longer. But once she has that, I think then next time she'll actually be able to do it.
Yeah, I think so as well. And now that Cactus has gone back, we can see that he's gone for a Trinity Force. So a double Trinity Force power spike that Enigma can play with, but also a very strong mid laner that has 3 items now. He has his upgraded boots and he has a QSS to keep himself alive, and he has his Ghost up as well for some extra movement speed in team fights. So just kite and deal a lot of damage is the plan, but Nico might be caught there.
Okay. Very dangerous. The wards went up around the Baron, and we're back to another pause. I hope this time it's the other team.
I do hope so. Let's take a look at the chat. Yeah,
Come on, boys.
It does look like... Who started the... Oh, that's the wrong... It was actually the team of Caseking that started that pause.
Okay, so back to another pause, and we'll be able to see what happens then. But right now, you can see that, because Dragon is still down for another 2 minutes, and Caseking can't really afford to let another dragon just go away for free. They need to get some presence on this map and get at least one of the dragons. And if they want to do that, they need to be dead certain that Baron won't be taken at the same time, which is why they're now setting up some wards, which is why they're denying enemy vision around the Baron, so that Enigma can't as easily just trade one for the other. Corki's back in the game, and then we'll hopefully go back into the game again. Here, 2 seconds remaining. So they don't want to get Baron baited. They want to, if anything, bait it themselves. They want to have another part of the map visible to themselves when Dragon comes up. Maybe even trade that themselves. So we'll see what happens in just about 1 minute and 40 seconds when Dragon comes up.
Yeah, and well, Enigma can't take the Baron now. There are a lot of vision, as you just said, so they have to just push up the lanes the next 1.5 minutes and try to apply pressure everywhere. And to be honest, Fortunate has gone for a ban of command since Nico went for the Aegis, but I haven't seen him use the ban of command yet.
Not yet. The problem is always with that. You need to get around one of the minion waves just when a siege minion comes up, because you always want to buff that one. It's obviously stronger than the other ones, and it has to be the right timing as well. You don't just want to buff a lane that someone's already in and can just clear out that buffed minion right off the bat. You want to use it just when it's, when it'll have an impact. So if you buff someone up right about now in one of the side lanes, it would actually be a very good timing, and I think that's what Morgana is running down to the bot lane for. There's a siege minion in the current bot lane wave, and if she managed to get that, it would have been cool. She doesn't, because she's hanging around the crab. She wants that instead. So more focus on the dragon rather than trying to get anything like that done. Look at the damage they've already done to Gragas. Rek'Sai following over the wall.
He's just going in and out.
Yeah, I mean, he already had the out tunnel, so he was confident he could use one to get in and just see whether he can do a little bit of extra damage. But Annie's around. They've cleared out a bit of vision. Hecarim is recalling. He's got the home guard and the teleport still up because he obviously didn't use it last fight, but Annie's on full HP. We've talked about this earlier. Varus wants to poke her out before the fight happens, so she's too scared to do the flash engage. Here comes Hecarim into the backline. He's not been spotted by the enemy team. They don't know this is happening. Look how they're getting caught off guard by that. The Hecarim ultimate is huge. The knockup out of Rek'Sai, completely demolishing the enemy team, and Corki lays down the pain, and it's already 3 people down. The double kill that Corki got here is definitely very nice for him. They don't even go for the dragon because they're rushing right to the other side of the map. I think they want to go for the Baron, and I'm not too sure how much the other time how much the other team, Caseking, can still do with that one.
Yeah, and they should probably be able to get this dragon, and without any problems, basically. There are 4 seconds before Sayu comes up, and even then he won't be able to come and get the Baron steal, but
trying to get
Caseking goes for dragon, and it's stolen.
Varus managed to get the dragon steal, and that means that Lucian goes down for free. He had nothing to say in the matter anymore, and you can see Maokai just sitting. They know they lost Baron. They know they just lost dragon now as well, and it's a surrender vote coming in. That was the absolute desperation move, and when they didn't get it, they said, okay, that's all it. Nothing we can do here anymore. GG, well played.
Yeah, once again we see Enigma just playing around with their power spikes, and well, they did a very good job, and most of the team didn't really go down. Only 6 kills for Caseking Gaming and 18 for Enigma, so really well played, and just Caps and Sliver and even Fortunate being a huge part of this game, and very well played, basically. GG, well played.
Yep, so Enigma, once again, they fall behind in the early game, then get a couple of advantages when they hit their power spikes, play the team fights better, move on from there, and then absolutely demolish the mid and late game. So, GG, well played to them. They move through to the finals, so we'll be able to look at that one next. But not quite yet, because I need another pause.
And we'll see you after the pause.